book, Get Wealthy. It's Think and Grow Rich. So if someone picks up the book, why aren't they getting wealthy? Certainly not everyone will.
No, certainly not everyone will. And this, by the way, is what the people in government use to justify their logic. Is when you say something like anybody can get wealthy, they'll say, well, wait a minute, statistics don't prove that out, right?
Right.
But I say anybody of ordinary capacity can get wealthy if they will read the book and act on it. The biggest problem we have is, number one, most people don't even read the book. Fewer than 10% of books are ever even read past the first chapter. Now, how do you get the message out of that? Second of all, reading styles is very hard. It's just nothing but squiggles. You got to do a lot of mental interpretation, and so therefore audio, or we have even programs where we take people through, is easier. So you got to have desire, you got to want it, you got to have determination, you got to enter it, get the instructional material, and then, oh yeah, it's Think and Grow Rich. But really, conceptually, it's more like think strategically, act, and you'll grow rich.
Yes, Ted, you definitely hit the nail on the head. People read books, people go to classes, people get a coach, but unless they take the actions required, they're just stuck in their someday situation. Someday I'll act on it. Someday I'll get to it. Someday I'll check out this website. That's why I wrote this poem for all of you someday people. Someday, an original poem by yours truly, Joyce Barry. I went to my calendar and took a look. I discovered that someday was not in the book. I looked carefully, for someday I did seek, but only Monday through Sunday appeared on each week. I got really confused. This was not funny. I always said someday I'd make very good money. I always said someday I'd get everything done. I always said someday I'd be number one. I always said someday this and someday that. Someday is starting to sound like very old hat. I became very sure that something was wrong. No someday on my calendar all along. I thought everything I wanted would come to be. It would happen someday. I kept telling me it was someday. I kept telling you that all our dreams were sure to come true. How shocking to discover that all along someday was not in the calendar. How could I be so wrong? How could I not know that why I was stuck was that someday would never, ever show up? There wasn't a calendar anywhere, none to be found, that had someday in it. It would never come around. I always knew that if something is going to be, I am totally responsible. It's all up to me. I thought of my goals and made a new list. How exciting to realize that someday did not exist. Now I really know without any doubt that Monday through Sunday is in and someday is out. So I ask you women, I ask you men, I ask myself, if not right now, when?